What's going on, full-time family? This is a video that needs to be made because it seems like every time Stephen A. Smith talks about MMA, one of these fucking MMA commentators and of course the ignorant MMA fans have something to say about it, like they don't know his fucking job. And you would think that coming from being fans of mixed martial arts, you would respect and appreciate someone like Stephen A. Smith a little bit more. Let me explain. We're fans of mixed martial arts, where you take all the combat sports and you mix them up, right? You take Muay Thai, you take Jiu-Jitsu, you take wrestling, you take kickboxing, you take boxing, you mix it all together, right? And you become the best at everything. That's how you become the best in mixed martial arts. You might be wondering, how does this connect to Stephen A. Smith? Because Stephen A. Smith is a commentator and he's an analyst of all sports. He's not just a basketball aficionado. He's not just an NFL guru. He's not just a fucking baseball guy. No. He's been on ESPN First Take for the last probably 10, 15 fucking years talking about all sports. He'll talk about tennis. He'll talk about Venus and Serena Williams. He'll talk about fucking golf. He'll talk about Tiger Woods and all of these guys. He talks about all sports, and that's really fucking hard to do. It's almost like mixed martial arts. It's really fucking hard to do. You can't just be a boxer and come be at the top of the game in MMA. Stephen A. Smith is at the top of the game in sports commentary because he talks about everything. Everybody hasn't been a diehard MMA fan as long as us, guys. Now that MMA is becoming more mainstream, you're going to have guys like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and other people who are professional athletes that have nothing to do with fighting talking about this. They're going to be analyzing the sport. It's going to come on ESPN First Take. It's going to come on Skip and Shannon. It's going to come on fucking Mike and whatever other ESPN and Fox Sports shows. They're going to be talking about this, and it's a good thing. It is a good thing for the sport that Stephen A. Smith is interested in it, because Stephen A. Smith is one of the most popular sports analysts in the world. By the way, he's an analyst. He's not he's not an expert. He's not a former fighter or any of these things. His job is to analyze what he sees. And 100% of us saw going into that fight, Conor had cardio issues. Unless you're a fucking dead brain fucking nimwit, then obviously putting together a strategy to fight Conor McGregor involves making it to the second and third round. So it is completely fair for Stephen A. Smith or anybody else to analyze that fight and be confused with Cowboy's game plan. So there's no reason for all this hate towards Stephen A. Smith. And oh, by the way, this is something that some people might not know because they don't know much about Stephen A. Smith. He's always hated the Cowboys. Cowboy just happens to be a fucking cowboy, by the way. He's never liked the Cowboys. Come on, man. But either way, his job, like I said, is an analyst. His job is not to fucking learn everything from UFC 1 to UFC 2 fucking whatever we're at now. There's no way he can do that in time. Not when you're covering the NBA. Not when you're covering the NFL. Not when you're covering the MLB. Not when you're covering every other fucking sport that crosses your desk. And so for Joe Rogan to say this guy should not be allowed to talk about fighting, hey Jamie, bring that up. How many times does Joe Rogan talk shit about shit he has no clue about? He's a fucking comedian, a podcaster, an MMA commentator. So shouldn't that be all he talks about? Because I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan talks about fucking Tesla and he talks about politics, he talks about health, and he's not a fucking doctor. He's not a fucking inventor. He's not a fucking politician. But guess what he does on his podcast? He talks about everything. He don't stick to the things he's that professional at. So should Stephen A. Smith come out tomorrow and say, hey, Joe Rogan, why don't you stick to fucking talking about comedy? No, Joe Rogan talks about fucking everything and don't nobody say shit. So get off Stephen A.'s fucking dick. How about that, everybody in the MMA community? He's doing his fucking job. Why don't you do yours? And with that being said, It is what it is, man. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comment with all these fucking clout chasers. Man, people know Stephen A. Smith is a lightning rod of criticism, so if you talk shit about Stephen A. Smith, you get a pat on the back. You're doing the same thing as saying, Colby Covington's a bad guy. Oh, really? Oh, that took a lot of fucking thought. Get the fuck out of here, man. Stephen A. Smith is doing his job. Respect him or get the fuck out of here. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.